Right now, there's an extremely interesting lawsuit going on between Activision and Anthony Fantano of The Needle Drop, the internet's busiest music nerd. And it's a real eyebrow raiser, I'll tell you what. For starters, most of these publications refer to Fantano as a TikTok music critic. That's the most disrespectful shit ever. That's like cheerleaders laughing at you right to your face, pulling your pants down. Like, that's so embarrassing to get labeled that. They're spitting on him. Fantano's been on the internet long before TikTok ever even existed as an idea, so I'd have to give those headlines a light too. But anyway, when reading those headlines, what I expected in this story was Activision being 100% in the wrong and bullying a creator because they are a company known for shady, awful, garbage, horrible, horrible things, as well as being unbelievably greedy. So I thought this would be a case of that, them strong-arming a creator and wiping their ass with their face. But after reading through the actual lawsuit and going over the case, it's super weird because Activision is still a supervillain, greedy, evil corporation, but the argument they're making in this lawsuit is actually one that helps normal TikTok users. I want to make it clear right away, I am not a fan of Activision. You certainly won't find me pumping my fist for that company. I am no Activision enthusiast. I am, however, an Anthony Fantano fan. So this was a really weird case because I don't see how Anthony Fantano could possibly argue his side. Melon magic can only go so far, and in this case, I don't think it'll be far enough. And if Anthony Fantano did somehow win, it could open the door to large-scale exploitation of a system a lot of normal TikTok users rely on. And I'll explain what I mean in a moment. And I want to be clear right now, Anthony Fantano has not spoke his piece on the subject yet, probably because it's a very touchy legal matter, so it'd be very difficult to speak on it. So I can only really give you the perspective of what's been laid out so far, and maybe that'll be subject to change as it continues, but basically right now, Anthony Fantano had a very popular meme of him go viral called Enough Slices. It's a meme that's been used endlessly on TikTok. It's become a very popular meme. And Activision recently used it in an advertisement they made for Crash Bandicoot on TikTok. And Anthony Fantano allegedly cease and desisted them, to which they complied and took down the video. But then, according to Activision, Anthony Fantano reached back out and said that they're going to be required to pay a substantial amount of money in damages for using his intellectual property, basically, that meme. And they said, no sir, we're not playing ball here. That's not a game of foosball we're interested in engaging in. So they are countersuing Anthony Fantano and looking for a declaratory ruling that states that he will no longer be allowed to try and get money out of users or companies that use his meme clip because they say that Enough Slices meme was knowingly entered into the commercial sounds library on TikTok. Now, most of you have probably already activated your super sniffer and smelled a little something fishy here because there is a big difference between a normal TikTok user, fucking Cliff Blast Cleaver using Anthony Fantano's Enough Slices meme for a goofy little TikTok he made, and a company like Activision using a meme he made to sell a product. They're very different. It wouldn't be unheard of to be okay with a normal person using your meme and not being okay when it's a company using it to sell a product that you don't agree with and you don't like. And that's a fundamental right that you have, that your likeness can't just be manipulated and used to mislead consumers or something into believing that you support a product that you don't. And this is what makes the case really interesting because in here, what they used was a meme from Anthony Fantano that they are arguing was opted into a program called the Commercial Sound Library, and in the Commercial Sound Library's terms, it very clearly states that when you opt in here, when it is part of this directory, that it is completely fair game for companies, brands, advertising partners, and normal users to use for any and all purposes whatsoever, which does include paid content and advertisements. Now, since the ad was deleted, I'm unsure if they used Anthony Fantano's actual video clip that has his face in it, or if it was just the audio. I'm really not sure. But even still, the meme itself was uploaded, apparently, to this commercial sounds library, so Activision's argument is that he can't just selectively enforce who is and who isn't allowed to use that meme because it has been uploaded to the commercial sounds library, allegedly. He can't just revoke permission for people that he doesn't like or brands that he doesn't support. That's the core of their argument. They're also claiming that this is overt gamesmanship, a nefarious money-making scheme from Fantano, where he'll allow some people to use it, but when he sees that there's a financial opportunity to make money from it, then he strikes and pounces on it and tries to threaten for money in return for the use of the meme clip. According to Activision, he's stated that he's done this before to a couple of other organizations, I suppose, to which they have complied, but Activision isn't going to. They are arguing he doesn't have the legal grounds to do that. He can't just selectively enforce who's allowed to use that when he has knowingly uploaded it to a directory that has a blanket use for everyone for any purpose whatsoever. And it extends to normal users too, and this is what I was saying a bit earlier, where this argument from Activision is actually helpful to normal TikTok users because normal TikTok users often rely on the commercial sound library in their content, and by their own terms, it should be safe for them to use. But if Anthony Fantano does squeak out the W here, the big dubski, it would kind of throw that into turmoil where you wouldn't feel comfortable using the commercial sound library anymore because there could be a bad actor that has swooped in to exploit it, where you might use one of their memes and they'll sue you for it or demand compensation for it even though it was uploaded to the commercial sound library. So like if Sally Strawberry taps into a popular meme and the user's like, damn, that content was fucking cheeks, that was some turbo ass, I want money because you used it, then it would be a lot scarier. Now, obviously, Activision isn't making this argument for the better of the platform. They're arguing in their own selfish interests, but what they're arguing does actually extend to help protect normal users if Activision wins. I've seen a lot of discussion on this topic, and it seems it's all hyper-focused on brand versus creator, which I do understand. A lot of the claims are around brands trying to exploit creators and use their likeness to mislead consumers through advertisements and falsely label support where there is none. Like, I do get that angle, but this case is not specific to just that. If it was, I wouldn't really give a fuck. My heart's not exactly breaking or shedding any tears because brands might not be able to use TikTok memes. That's not a big deal to me. It's just simply, this was in the Creative Sound library, and there is a potential that it wasn't uploaded by Anthony Fantano with his knowledge. There is definitely wiggle room that maybe there was some kind of automatic inclusion in there that he didn't consent to. That is possible, and that would be a core component of this case that would be very, very interesting if that's the truth. But since it is there, and it does clearly state brands can use it for any purpose, then if the rules against them, it means that no one can really use it for any purpose because all of a sudden it's now unsafe. This is just one of those things where I do think there's a potential for a dangerous precedent being set where if someone knowingly uploads something to the commercial sound library, which obviously states that it can be used by anyone, including brands, for any purpose, you really shouldn't have the right or ability to start attacking selectively and threatening people for money because that extends beyond just brands. That extends to literally any user ever. What's to stop me from uploading tons of audio and sounds and shit to the commercial sound library as bait, and then just going around cease and desisting and demanding money from people that use it because they were under the impression that it was safe to use? It's one of those things that exists on other platforms as well. Like YouTube has one for music. It's the Common Music Library or something like that, where artists knowingly post songs that are DMCA free for creators to use. You know, they just choose the music and it's totally fine, there's no problems. But what if an artist said, you know what, I'm going to put music on here and when a popular YouTuber uses it, I'm going to demand money from it, even though it's uploaded to a service that states that it's, you know, okay to use and there will be no problems with it. It's one of those things where these directories exist on other platforms like YouTube and Twitch, and if all of a sudden people are able to put things on there as kind of like a trap where you use it and then you could potentially face like a lawsuit or something, it's just bad for everybody, not just brands. And according to a lawyer named Richard Hogue, he believes the company has a decent case. Basically, he says, as described by Activision, it would seem they have a good case. The TikTok audio library appears to allow for general commercial use on TikTok, so anyone placing content in the library should be limited in their rights to challenge. That said, there could still be facts we don't know, like whether an unauthorized third party actually affected the sound's inclusion or even where it might have been automated. So fundamentally, the entire case is going to have to be argued on Fantano's side that he was not the one that put it in the commercial sounds library. At least that's my understanding of it, because again, it is entered in there apparently, and since it's there, it means any brand, company, or user can use it without consequence. It's fair game, you know? It's open season on enough slices. So Activision saying, since that's the case, Anthony Fantano can't try and threaten them for money because they used it. And Activision is seeking a declaratory ruling that will prevent not only Anthony Fantano, but anyone on the platform, any kind of bad actor perhaps, that might come forward to try and extort money out of users that use content from the commercial sound library, when it's totally in their right to use that content. The only thing that can really win this for Anthony Fantano, I think, is if he can prove that he wasn't the one who opted into the commercial sound library for the Enough Slices clip. It was some kind of third party that automatically entered it in there without his knowledge, or it was, you know, a fucking burglar broke in and in the middle of the night uploaded the Enough Slices audio or meme clip to the commercial sounds library. I feel like that's the only thing in this case, but even then, I still don't know how liable Activision would be for damages, because it's not like they would know that it wasn't Anthony Fantano that uploaded it. It's there, thus you would work under the assumption that the user is the one that put it there. So the whole case is just really messy, and it really fucking sucks because I very much dislike Activision. I really fucking do. But here, I just don't really see how Anthony Fantano has a good argument in this case. I'm going to go ahead and just play all the stream clips where I went through this from the very beginning here so you can kind of follow along with the entire story. I kind of just broke it down here in the beginning, but in the stream clips you'll get to get the entire, you know, situation. So I'll just go ahead and let that rip. The game company claims Anthony Fantano is misusing intellectual property laws by threatening to sue TikTokers over a widely memed audio clip. Video game giant Activision is suing a prominent TikTok music critic over a viral audio clip that he created, claiming he is unfairly demanding that some of the social media users pay him an extortionate settlement after they reused the heavily memed clip. In a complaint filed Monday in California, Activision accused Anthony Fantano of misusing intellectual property laws by threatening to selectively sue TikTokers who use Enough Slices, a popular audio clip that originated with a video Fantano posted in 2021. Activision, which says it received such a threat after it used the clip in a promotion for its Crash Bandicoot franchise, claims that Fantano intentionally made the clip available through TikTok's audio library, meaning he cannot now sue the hundreds of thousands of users that choose to use it. This dispute is a textbook example of how intellectual property law can be misused by individuals to leverage unfair cash payments, Activision's lawyer wrote. Fantano was very happy to receive the benefit of the public use of the Slices video. It was only after he identified a financial opportunity, namely receiving unjustified settlement payments, that he suddenly decided that his consent was limited. This law does not permit, and the court should not countenance such overt gamesmanship. That is interesting. If you make something available through the TikTok audio library, I'm very unfamiliar with the platform, does that just waive your right to enforce, like, IP law on it? Probably. Makes sense. It's like a public audio repository. Well, what I want to know, if on TikTok, do things just enter the TikTok's audio library by default just by posting? Because I know they have that, like, original sound shit that goes to the source, and it's like fucking Bumblefuck Joe over here is the one that created it, but it's not like he did it on his own accord. TikTok auto-generated it. Yeah, at least I think that's how it works, right? You have to make it a sound through a video. Oh, so you do have to, like, say, I want this in the audio library by making it a sound. That's a very interesting case. So has Fantano done this to other TikTok creators, or is it just Activision? And if it is other creators and not just Activision, I wonder what the legal ground is for using it in an official ad. Because it'd be different if it's just like, you know, fucking Carl Hamburger using Anthony Fantano's meme in a TikTok versus Activision using it in an official ad. Only way I think Fantano has a case is if someone else uploaded his video audio to the library. True. In its lawsuit, Activision says there's an obvious reason why this clip was used so widely. Fantano deliberately and knowingly added the audio to TikTok's library, making it easily available for millions of other users to incorporate into their own videos. They say he even opted into the commercial sounds library, which means he agreed his clip could be legally used in promotional videos and brands. That sounds like a dagger if that's true. That sounds like it's open and shut if that's the case, if that's real. If he opted into the commercial sounds, that seems like he waived all rights on that. I don't know how he'd win this case. The company says it was surprised when it received a legal threat from Fantano after it used enough slices in a TikTok video depicting the creation of custom Crash Bandicoot sneakers. He allegedly told the gaming giant the use of his clip not only used his name and likeness rights without permission, but also violated federal trademark laws by suggesting he had endorsed the company's games, which is a real thing. You can't do that. But if it was made readily available on the commercial sounds library, I don't know how you're supposed to argue that you didn't give your permission. That's what this is for, I imagine. This is what it's for on every other platform. Maybe it's different on TikTok. Activision says it agreed to pull the clip down, but Fantano demanded the company either immediately pay him substantial monetary damages or be prepared to defend a lawsuit. The exact amount of money demanded was not included in the lawsuit, but Activision says Fantano asked for a six-figure sum and said that other companies had paid a similar sum in order to avoid the expense of litigation. What the fuck? On his Dr. Evil grind, $1 billion. Hey, I'm always rooting for the little guy here. I don't know how you're supposed to somehow argue that what they did is illegal and violated federal trademark laws if it was knowingly agreed upon to enter the commercial sounds library. That seems like it's an uphill battle, but I mean, that maybe there's more to it. This is right now just Activision's lawyer. With Fantano's approval and encouragement, hundreds of thousands of TikTok users have incorporated Slice's audio into their videos over the past 2 years. But now, Fantano has embarked on a scheme whereby he selectively threatens to sue certain users of the Slice's audio unless they pay him extortionate amounts of money for their alleged use. The commercial music library from the TikTok's ad manager. Let's see. In order to get it there, it's called Commercial Sounds. Even in the own post, Commercial Sounds. But it's listed as the commercial music library. Okay, I see. So this is it. This is correct. CML features commercial sounds, both with and without lyrics, whatever. Who can use the commercial music library? Is for TikTok users that use TikTok for marketing, advertising, sponsorships, endorsements, or publicity, including official brand accounts, their promotional partners and creators, NGOs, and government organizations. You can also use the commercial music library for organic and paid content. This sounds like it's kaput. If it was uploaded there by Fantano, I think it's probably checkmate. Yes, sir, lawyer critical. Hey, man, it's just basic reading comprehension. If I uploaded me saying, woo, yeah, baby, to the commercial library, I can't exactly be upset if all these brands start using it. I can't then start looking for compensation. Yeah, you can. No, I can't. I literally cannot. Do you agree that your sound can be used by brands, marketing, endorsements, sponsorships, and all of that? Yes. Okay. And now I don't. I've changed my mind. You can't. Why? Because you signed. It's here. You put it here. It's literally the SpongeBob scene of, is this your wallet? Like when Man Ray's trying to return the wallet to Patrick. Was the advert also on TikTok? Apparently, yes. According to this, it was a TikTok video they made about Crash Bandicoot that used the sound. I think Danny's right. I think he'd have to prove that he wasn't the one that uploaded it to the commercial sound library. Even then, that wouldn't be on Activision. Them taking it down at his request would have been more than enough. True. That would be true. They would have no idea that it wasn't him, but instead his evil twin that uploaded it. I mean, you're not wrong. And they did take it down. They just said, oh, okay, we'll take it down. And now they have to defend themselves against a lawsuit, or they have to defend themselves against legal threats, and are now issuing a lawsuit as a counter. Are you talking about this last sentence? Activision is seeking a so-called declaratory ruling that Fantano cannot sue TikTok users over the clip. They're saying that Fantano can't go after anyone that uses the clip because they're well within their rights to, since he waived the rights by putting it on that commercial library. I'm confused. This trial about Okay. Here's a little advice to all of these publications writing articles about this. Change the title. This title has confused everybody. Actually, reading through the case is very different. In a nutshell, Anthony Fantano had a very popular clip, meme clip, which was entered into the commercial music library, commercial sound library, whatever, on TikTok. It became usable, so a lot of people used it on TikTok, including Activision. And when Activision used it, Anthony Fantano threatened them, forced them to take it down, which they did, and then said, if you don't pay me a six-figure sum, allegedly, then you're going to have to defend them. You're going to have to defend yourself in court. And then apparently also said other companies have paid a sum to avoid this. So now Activision is suing, saying, no, you can't do that. You uploaded this to the commercial sound library, meaning anyone can use this, including companies. And Activision's right. It's literally in the exact terms on TikTok that the commercial music library is usable by any brand, any user, anything for any purpose. You consent to that being used anywhere when it is uploaded there. I don't know how he would win this one. But I'm no Activision fan, so if he squeaks out a dub from this, that'd be fucking crazy. That would be wild. I have no idea how he'd do it. I don't even think Saul Goodman could pull this one off, but if he somehow did, that would be unreal. That is a good point, actually. Okay, you made a good point, Otaku. Cool name as well, I guess. It'd fuck everyone else by letting him win and set a precedent that you could pull your agreement after making it. That would be actually pretty dangerous. If Fantano does win, he sets the precedent that even if you upload your sounds to the commercial sounds library, meaning you waive the right and anyone can use it for any reason without compensation, if he does win, that means anything uploaded there is fair game for a lawsuit if you use it. That's a very good point. That's very true. That would be bad. There are a handful of YouTubers that are currently being sued for $1 billion in a class action lawsuit right now due to them promoting FTX. I don't need to read you the bedtime story of the FTX collapse and disaster. In a very quick and dirty nutshell, it was a very, very large cryptocurrency exchange. You may have even seen the commercial with Larry David where it was, "Don't be like Larry. Crypto's coming and you don't want to miss it, so hop on board, choo-choo, this shit's going right to the moon," that kind of thing. It was this big hype train that seemed to have no end until it ended. The whole thing went tits up, completely collapsed, and was worth less than the gum stuck under your school desk. It was revealed to be fundamentally just a giant scam, and the person behind it, Sam Bankman-Fried, this weaselly goblin homunculus, was basically just a big fraudster, the puppet master behind this whole thing. And so the train derailed, and instead of spilling vinyl chloride, it spilt dust, because there was no money in there at all. So many people lost so much, it was a complete catastrophe, and since the days of its crumbling, a lot has happened. Not just with the people on the inside like Sam Bankman-Fried, but even the people who were loosely connected to it, like brand ambassadors, for example. They've already put Tom Brady, for instance, in the crosshairs. Tom Brady was a big FTX shill, as were quite a few other celebrities. But one of them I'd like to make special note of is Shaq. According to numerous sources, Shaq is currently trying to be issued a lawsuit for his involvement with FTX, but is hiding from them in his own home. So it's just almost kind of comical to think about Shaq hiding from the FTX lawsuit, like real Looney Tunes style, like he's, crouching behind his bar in his home or something while the guy's trying to deliver paperwork to him, but he can't find him, like a mission out of fucking Splinter Cell or something. It's a wild situation. A ton of A-list celebrities are being sued because of all of this, and now it extends to more than just the A-list Hollywood celebrities and sports stars. It's extending to the YouTubers as well, which brings us to today's topic. There is a handful of YouTubers who are getting slapped with a $1 billion lawsuit for their involvement in the promotion of FTX. 1 billion clams. 1 billion sweet, precious doubloons are at stake now for these YouTubers. And CoffeeZilla just posted a video going over all of it in great detail, so I'll put a link to that in the description. I just want to kind of give you the nitty-gritty of it and kind of get into what's going on and really what it means. Now, you might have had a little twinkle in your eye when you noticed a few of those names were familiar to you, and that's totally natural because these are huge channels on YouTube. They have millions of subscribers, and all of them are financial channels. Their content is always centered around big schmeckles. The topics are money, making money, advice, following trends, crypto, the whole kit and caboodle. And speaking of recognizing names on the list, I don't know if you caught it, but we actually have a cameo from a supervillain we may have seen in the past. BitBoy Crypto, Bin. Bin is named in this lawsuit. BitBoy Crypto is someone I've made 2 videos on now. The first was when he sued a YouTuber who was making jokes about him, and the second time was when he called a completely random woman a child molester because the woman was calling him out on promoting dog shit crypto. So, I'm not the biggest fan of BitBoy Crypto. So seeing his name in there kind of gave me little butterflies in my tummy. I had a little smile like, oh wow, how the tables have turned, because usually BitBoy Crypto is the one administering these lawsuits, which is a joke CoffeeZilla also made in his video, because it's just an easy dunk. BitBoy Crypto is very loosey-goosey with frivolous lawsuits, and now he's being named in a big lawsuit. It's poetic to a certain extent. But I'm going to have to go to bat for him, because BitBoy Crypto, as pointed out by CoffeeZilla, was actually one of the very few financial channels who started calling out FTX before they even collapsed. I know, I couldn't believe it when I heard that either. I didn't think I was even in reality anymore. I thought I got trapped in a Naruto Genjutsu. The odds of BitBoy Crypto offering good advice are incalculably low. It's almost impossible. It's like almost as impossible as fucking Netflix's Big Mouth telling a good joke. BitBoy Crypto's entire career is built upon offering the worst crypto investment advice into these absolute dogshit moonshot coins that almost always lose his audience money. And yet, in this specific case, he fucking nailed it. He got it right. According to CoffeeZilla and his research, Bin had actually made a handful of videos letting people know that they need to get out of FTX immediately. That it's toxic, it's bad, and shit's not looking good, it's evil, this and that. And he was absolutely right. I mean, even a broken clock is right twice a day, as they say. And Bin absolutely hit the nail on the head. He pinned the tail right on that donkey. He was telling people like a month before the collapse even happened that they need to pull out now. And still, he gets named in the lawsuit here. As you can imagine, a lawsuit like this is a reputational stain for all of these YouTubers because people look to them for financial advice. And now their credibility has been fucking slammed. It's been slapped by this because they were shilling a fucking scam, basically, that lost a ton of people money. The big issue is they weren't just talking about FTX positively because they wanted to talk about FTX organically. A lot of them were being sponsored to talk about FTX and promote it. In fact, some of them even had a podcast that was sponsored by FTX. It's now been deleted, of course. They buried that as far into the soil as they could. But they were being paid to shill FTX, which, of course, gave FTX access to even more victims. It brought more people to the slaughterhouse here and completely butchered their finances when FTX inevitably crashed. So now let's start eating the meat to get to the bone. It's targeting financial YouTubers. I think you can probably imagine why. Financial YouTubers are looked at as experts in this kind of subject matter. Promoting FTX gives the perception to the audience that they've done their due diligence. They're working on the assumption that this financial YouTuber is a trusted source when it comes to this kind of information, so this product, which fits right in that wheelhouse, must be something legit and safe. Because this financial YouTuber is talking about it and feels comfortable enough promoting it, it's probably legit. They're viewed as experts, thus, when they're doing an FTX sponsorship, it makes it seem even more legit than if it was just some completely random goofball that has no knowledge whatsoever on anything like crypto. So that, to me, makes a lot of sense, but in CoffeeZilla's video, he talks to a real lawyer, Legal Eagle. Legal Eagle is an amazing channel on YouTube that I can't recommend enough, and Legal Eagle weighs in and says that he actually views this as kind of a meritless lawsuit. I'll do my best to break it down very quickly, but keep in mind I'm also a fucking idiot. So the first thing that the lawsuit needs to be successful is it needs to connect the endorser to FTX itself. But the people that were endorsing it, I mean, they're not employees of FTX, they're not agents, they're not directors or anything like that. And oh my god, I got something in my eye. Fucking Sam Bankman-Fried shot a dust particle right in my eye. And then the second main component is they need to have the endorsers be liable, kind of like privy to what was happening at the behind the scenes of FTX, which Legal Eagle argues is kind of factually odd because even if they're endorsing FTX, it doesn't mean they understand what's going on the inside of the company. They're not necessarily going to be given information that isn't available to the public. They're not going to automatically know more than what's publicly accessible to everybody else. So he fundamentally says that it's not the strongest case and he doesn't think it's going to go anywhere, but it's going to be expensive for the YouTubers named in the suit to fight it. But regardless of whether or not the lawsuit itself is successful, the community of these channels is not super happy about this whole situation because a lot of them fell hook, line, and sinker into FTX because of their recommendations. In CoffeeZilla's video, he interviews one of the people here, and CoffeeZilla doesn't pull punches. I always very much appreciate that about his interviews. So here he does absolutely lay it down to get to the bottom of very important questions such as, are you going to give back the money you made from the sponsorships? And all of those things. And all of it's answered in CoffeeZilla's video. But one thing that's interesting about the person being interviewed here is that he puts the onus on the viewers that fell for it, not so much him. In fact, he makes it very clear that he doesn't feel responsible. He just feels bad that some of the people that lost all of their money for being irresponsible in their own personal way. He doesn't feel responsible for it, which I found very interesting. I agree with CoffeeZilla that the viewers look at channels like his and other financial YouTubers as experts in this field. So when they're recommending something like FTX, they assume due diligence has been done and that this is a trustworthy organization that they can put money into. And in the case of FTX, that couldn't have been further from the truth. Thus, their credibility now is completely in the shitter. And a lot of people lost a lot of money from this trusting these YouTubers, which is a big problem. And that's a point CoffeeZilla likes to make at the end of the video that I think is a very strong point. So overall, these YouTubers are being sued for $1 billion. It doesn't, from the sound of it, from the expert like Legal Eagle, it doesn't sound like they're actually going to lose a collective $1 billion from all of this unless some kind of crazy shit comes out. But regardless, it highlights a huge issue where they would promote this product without ever really bothering to look that deep into it, which isn't a problem that's exclusive to just these financial YouTubers. That extends to the broader platform of YouTube as a whole. And in fact, it's happened to me before as well. On the official podcast, we actually had a sponsorship slot for Robinhood. And even though Robinhood isn't like an outright scam or anything, at least not that I know of, they have done some unforgivably shady shit. And I still feel awful about that whole situation because they had like 5 slots on the podcast and I thought it was a good service, but I was kind of naive to think that. I am no Robinhood fan anymore after the multitude of scummy moves they've made. So it is something that has happened in other verticals of the platform, but in this case it is targeted directly at the financial YouTubers in the lawsuit, and it's a very interesting situation here that I'm going to keep my eye on to see how it all plays out. But anyway, just want to talk about it a little bit. That's about it. So yeah, if you're standing up, you're going to want to take a seat because I've got a doozy for you today. Have you ever thought to yourself, man, it'd be great if anime was real. Our world is so boring. And I can even sympathize with that a bit. I think it'd be great to like scream really loud and get huge muscles and grow taller. But then you need to take a step back and read a headline like this and realize that we're already living in an anime. And it's a goddamn shonen shithole. There's a Destiny YouTuber who's currently being sued by Bungie for $7.6 million. And just like the Celtics in the NBA Finals, he will absolutely lose. He doesn't stand a chance. He'd have better luck finding $7.6 million in the gutter than winning this lawsuit against Bungie. This guy took the plot of Death Note and applied it to YouTube. He basically became a Diet Kira, and as a result, it cost him his entire life here with this lawsuit. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I've loosely followed this story since it broke a couple months ago, and my god, there's so many twists and turns in here, it makes Game of Thrones look tame. It is so unbelievably goofy. And you all know how much I love like the goofy and the wacky and my god, I'm ashamed to say it, but even the silly too. And this story is absolutely among the cream of the crop in that ballpark. So, let me break all of it down for you. A couple months ago, Destiny content creators had their judgment day. Rapture had occurred. In total, 96 videos just vanished from a multitude of Destiny content creators seemingly out of nowhere and for no reason. The videos were totally innocent. There was nothing wrong with them, but they had all been struck down by a company called CSC, which is a legitimate copyright management firm that represents Bungie. So, content creators rightfully were very upset with Bungie, thinking that they'd betrayed the community. Bungie had decided to go to war against the creators, and it was this big bloodbath online for a while of people hating Bungie for what they did. But it turns out Bungie was also a victim. Their own videos got copyright struck and taken down by the same CSC agency. So what went wrong? Did an employee go rogue? Just have a Winter Soldier moment and just go full nuclear and take all Destiny content down as they saw fit? Well, as it turns out, there was a bad actor impersonating CSC Global. And they were the puppet master behind the scenes taking down all of these videos. So it naturally became the question of who is doing it and why? Because Bungie also put out a statement saying they're affected and they're investigating because this is not okay. Bungie wouldn't do this, it's not them. They were as confused as the rest of the community. But they weren't just confused, they were furious. They went fucking berserk. They weren't just mad at this douchebag that was copyright striking everyone with these fraudulent takedown requests. They were mad at YouTube. They took YouTube to court in order to get Google to finally reveal the identity of the person behind this, because YouTube was putting up a big stink about it. They even had the same problems as normal YouTubers, saying Bungie went through customer service and didn't get the issue solved for days. They even said that YouTube support didn't even respond to them in a timely fashion, if at all. Reading this when it was happening was shocking, because even a billion-dollar company like Bungie has to go through the same channels as the fucking goobers like me and all other YouTubers do. And it sucks. It's trash. Bungie got a taste of what it's like to be a normal YouTuber for a little bit. You get no answers, you get no response, and you get no solutions when you go up to like the top of the food chain of YouTube. They would have had better luck just doing what all the rest of us do and start whining on Twitter about it and crying for YouTube's attention, because it seems like the only team there that can actually solve things is the Team YouTube Twitter account. So instead of like going through the court as well as the support channels, Bungie should have just went right to Twitter with a twitlonger or some shit and a trending hashtag, because it seems like it's all they'll respond to. They won't even respond to a billion-dollar company through their official channels. What a joke. What chance do any normal YouTubers have if Bungie, of all companies, can't get them to talk to them? It's laughable. They slammed YouTube's absolutely archaic and dog shit system here with a fully detailed outline of how it happened and how weak YouTube's system is, and then finished it off by leaving YouTube a 1-star Yelp review on their support process, saying that Bungie was stranded in a circular loop. When I read that circular loop line, it was like this eureka moment. A light bulb flicked on in my head, and I knew exactly what happened here. Bungie, being as naive as they were about YouTube, thinking that good systems were in place, went on their YouTube channel and went to the partner creator support line, which lets you talk to what's supposed to be support agents at YouTube. But they're basically just bots. I don't think that there's anyone using that with a pulse. And what happens when you try and talk to people through that is they just keep linking you frequently asked questions, or they just keep asking you the same question you've answered a million times, and you just go in a circle forever, like Ouroboros constantly eating its own tail. Nothing gets solved when you contact that line. It's only frequently asked questions or publicly accessible YouTube blog posts about what might be adjacent to your issue, or repeated questions ad nauseum forever. I knew exactly what happened once I read Circular Loop. So Bungie couldn't even get in contact with YouTube directly initially, it seems. They went to that boilerplate, terrible service of the support line. But it looks like they did finally get it solved because they got the person's identity. And the story behind this is so stupid, it's crazy. There was a disgruntled Destiny YouTuber named Lord Nazo, or Nick. And Nick's YouTube channel focused on directly ripping music from Destiny's Taken King and Witch Queen official soundtracks and uploading them to his personal YouTube channel. And despite repeated takedown notices, Nick decided to leave the music up, which eventually resulted in him losing the account. And he got mad. Nick got very upset at this. This happened months prior to him impersonating CSC Global. So something snapped in Nick here, and he wanted revenge. And then he thought back to the time he watched Death Note, and he's like, maybe I could do that. So he impersonated a CSC Global employee and started filing takedown requests, fraudulent takedown requests, on pretty much anyone who made Destiny content. Just kept writing their name in the Death Note, just another one chalked up on the board, another victim, another body left in the wake of Nick's rage and his quest for revenge. And just like when L teamed up with Kira, Lord Nazo was directly trying to hunt himself down in secret. So he was on the front lines communicating with the content creators that he was actively striking, pretending to be on their side, and pretending to help try and find this fraudster that was issuing the takedowns. So he deceived all of them into thinking that he was there to help them, like Scooby-Doo, trying to sniff out the actual criminal here in this mystery. Meanwhile, he was the one actively doing it. It's so goofy. He'd send messages like this here, some of the silliest shit. Yeah, it's the people like us who suffer, the little guys, or just anyone with fewer than 250k YouTube subscribers and 100k Twitter followers. This was absolutely a plan to put himself at the bottom of the list of potential suspects. So he'd say things like, yeah, I was also a victim of this a few months ago. There's something real evil out there, and we've got to find him. I won't rest until this dubious actor is brought to justice. He'd go on and on, dropping breadcrumbs like it's definitely a fraud, and then even going into detail about how easy it is to take down someone's content using YouTube's broken system. Just constantly saying things like, it's actually a fraud out there and I know it. Just trying like his best to make it seem like he's super innocent and on their side. But unfortunately it was all a ruse and he was the one guilty of this crime. And for this crime he is facing a $7.6 million lawsuit. That's a fat one. To my knowledge, that's the biggest lawsuit against any YouTuber so far. The previous record, I believe, was the $1.7 million against Roblox YouTuber Ruben. This is blowing that out of the water right now. And this is a lawsuit this guy would absolutely lose. He's guilty. Like he is literally like admitted to it. He has been caught red-handed with his hand in the cookie jar. They have absolutely caught him dead to rights on this charge. He did this. And it's pretty cut and dry. They got the information from YouTube. They even have these Discord screenshots where he like subtly hints at exactly how he's doing it. There's just no wiggle room here. So this is a lawsuit that he can't possibly win, really. And I've seen a lot of people defending him saying, like, he was actually doing it just to make a point about how broken the system is. And that's a good point to make, because the system is broken, but this is the worst way of doing it. He's committing crimes. This is a crime. And it's a really douchey one at that, because he is actively hurting the livelihood of all of his peers. All 96 of those videos that he copyright struck were either friends of his, mutuals, or Destiny content creators that rely on content creation for their livelihood, and he threatened it, directly threatened it. That's not necessarily a petty crime. That's a big deal, and that's a wide-stretching one that affects a lot of people. So I think he absolutely deserves to be slapped like this and made an example out of. Shit like this isn't okay. YouTube actually slapped someone like this in a similar fashion back in like 2019. There was a guy issuing fraudulent takedowns for other content. I think it was Minecraft. And he got slapped with 25k per takedown notice. And you know what happened? That shit didn't happen again because they made an example out of that guy. And that's exactly what Bungie's doing with Nick, Lord Nazo here. And I think it's the right play. Bungie's seeking 150k for each of the works implicated in the fraudulent takedowns for a total of $7.65 million, and plus the legal fees. And just last week, they won a settlement of twice that in a dispute with the Destiny 2 cheat seller. So Bungie's already riding momentum here. They already copped a previous W here, and it looks like they might get another one if this makes it to court. And all of this over Miner's YouTube channel, which had less than 3,000 subs. Ultimately, I think Lord Nazo wanted to do something good. Like, he truly believed he was the hero in this anime, where he's fighting against a mega corporation that wrongfully took down his content, and he wanted to make an example out of a broken system. But he failed to realize that he was never the hero to begin with because his content was straight rips from their official soundtrack that he re-uploaded, fully knowing that that's not allowed, and even receiving warning that that's not allowed, and still acted surprised and angry when he eventually lost his channel because of it. And then in his temper tantrum, tried to spin this narrative where, like, this system's broken and I'll prove it by targeting the company that made me mad. And by targeting that company, he targeted a ton of normal people. People that had nothing to do with Bungie. And as a result of that, their livelihoods got kind of fucked for a little bit. Bungie's reputation got fucked for a while. And a lot of the other music uploaders who actually do have permission and uploaded music fully within fair use policies, they took down their content in order to avoid being struck because they thought it was Bungie just going on a killing spree. So they panicked and removed all of that content from their own channels, which again hurt their livelihood and still does because the content's not back up since they deleted it. And that now is now off YouTube. All of that content's gone as a result of this guy going commando mode. So the results of all of this were overwhelmingly negative across the board. There was nothing good here for anyone. And most of all, the worst part of it happened to Nick himself, now facing a life-changing lawsuit of $7.6 million. A really fucking crazy story, honestly, with a twist ending that I didn't expect. When I was first reading about this, I thought it'd be like a group of people doing a coordinated effort against Bungie that they had like a disagreement with. I didn't think it would be a single person that just had a petty disagreement with the company. It's just absolutely mind-blowing stuff. So I just wanted to share this because I thought it was pretty crazy and pretty sad at the same time, to be honest. And that's about it. See ya. You should check out Acerthorn. I discovered him a year ago on YouTube. He's currently suing me for $1.2 million for copyright infringement. There's vids about it. He also sued his university, parents, state of Arkansas, Google, Microsoft, etc. You're one of the people named in the Acerthorn case? So as I understand it, and if you really are someone named in this suit, maybe you can shed a little more light on it in the chat. He is suing these YouTubers because for Acerthorn's content, he only does paid content, paid streams, where you have to pay him, I think it's $20 to listen to him ramble. And some YouTubers used clips from one of those paid streams in order to talk about the points he was making. So he's saying that they owe him $20 per view on the videos they made about it. I only know a little bit about his history, but apparently he's just one of those serial suers that just sues everyone and everything for every trivial possible reason he can think of. In fact, he would probably even throw a lawsuit at me for defamation for even talking about it, I imagine. Which would be quite the power move. Originally this started after a collab stream between me and Acerthorn in which he timed out a lot of chat users for mentioning his past in the court. I didn't agree and asked what it was about. I was yelled at and he left in rage and later sued me. Somehow he attracted the attention of more content creators like Kritosis, Sid Alpha, and he added them to the lawsuit as well. Can't you just say no if someone sues you? I see we have a lawyer in here. You can't sue me if I don't agree to it. You don't have my consent. Honestly, this reads like a promotion. I'm a YouTuber and Twitch streamer. You can find my links here. Here's my YouTube and my Twitch.
I know he did this because he proceeded to make a video that included this clip. See infringement 23.
Can you say this in a lawsuit? He acquired possession of that clip because duh? What self-respecting lawyer would write that? This is like a teenager's blog. Does he write these himself?
That means he necessarily acquired it through unauthorized means.
Oh,
so
you wouldn't download a car.
Here. The first is the most obvious, that Acerthorn is factually...
The lawsuit says he's representing himself. Yikes. Oh my god. So does he just do these frivolous lawsuits as like a creative writing piece? The last time I saw someone represent themselves in court, it was a guy who murdered someone and his defense was, yeah, I murdered her. And what are you going to do about it? Oh, I'm not exaggerating. The guy who murdered, I think it was his girlfriend or something. It was a viral clip on YouTube like a year ago. The guy who murdered his girlfriend was like, I murdered her, but you're all getting how I did it wrong. This is how it happened. And he did it like he was delivering some kind of pregame pep talk. What actually happened is I killed her over there, not over there that you claim. As if that was like what was up for debate. I probably can't show the clip, and it's pretty fucked up because it's an actual murder case. But yeah, that was the last time I saw someone represent themselves. He wasn't denying that he killed her. He was just saying that they're getting the story wrong of how he killed her. Was he found innocent? I don't think so, man. But imagine the world were like, oh my god, he's right. It looks like she really was killed in the other room. Like it's a game of Clue. Oh, it wasn't Colonel Mustard in the library. Now we gotta let him go. Watch the clip. I'm not fucking touching an Acer Thorn clip. This shit's like handling raw sewage. No chance. I'm not touching him. So it's a 2-minute clip. It's really it's not a 2-minute clip. It's really short.
Some sort of evidence to prove to me that he has been harmed in any appreciable way, as I seriously doubt very many of my own viewers would be willing to lobotomize themselves to the point where they would be willing to provide such an inept content creator as Acerthorn with any money whatsoever. There is, however, a third decision.
Get ready for the next lawsuit, Sid Alpha, for that little smackdown there. So, Sophian says that the clip is him accidentally going live and spazzing out. So is the reason he got all upset because he looked silly? Is that what it's about? Yeah, that's the reason. Oh. Thanks he gives some Big Mary. So how does that even happen? Like he accidentally started streaming and then what? Just making noises? Like what was he spazzing out about? I'm not gonna look it up. I'm not gonna even take the chance. Like, I can't think of a single time I've ended stream and just started going like fucking wacky inflatable tube man with my arms and making crazy noises or anything. Imagine Crazy Frog, but stupider. He was just doing goofy stuff. You tell me the guy accidentally started his stream and just started hitting the bring ding 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 or something? Is that really what happened? Man, he should be thanking people for covering that. That makes him look human. He accidentally emoted.
Acerthorn has ever questioned why. And while I know he's watching, I'll let him go and spend a few furious hours looking up a few dozen legal precedents that only tangentially relate to what he alleges. Why? And because I'm a cruel bastard like that.
Bro, you're using big words. Acerthorn in his own lawsuit put in parentheses because duh. Voice crack, wow. Like, you're throwing words around that he's gonna have to Google and you're gonna insult him with it.
Also, within the Sophie P lawsuit, we already know that Acerthorn claims he did not make those noises, which we all know to be a blatant lie, and it will be fun to watch him twist in the wind over that one as well. Myself in a lose-lose situation, whereby in order to have a copyright to even enforce, I must admit to having made the noises myself, which in turn means I must publicly admit to being deranged. Not quite, but...
What are you talking about? Everyone makes goofy noises from time to time when they're alone. Shit, I make them on stream sometimes too. What do you mean? You have to admit to being deranged? What is wrong with you? What? Oh my god, now I have to publicly come out and say that I'm a lunatic. Because I made silly noises. People are gonna look at me like I'm a fool. Thus, I'll sue this man. That way no one thinks I'm a fool. Jesus. In order to avoid looking like a clown, he became the whole circus.
All right. It is actually the other way around. Because I have the registration for the copyright, that means I hold the presumption of copyright validity. To overcome this presumption, the defendants would have to insist that I did not make these noises, and once they do that, they've just admitted to defaming me when they called me deranged. No, that's really not how that works. So instead, it is actually the defendants, not myself, who have placed themselves in a lose-lose situation by embracing this legal theory for invalidating my copyright.
Can you put exclamation points in your lawsuit? This honestly reads like a blog post. Ah, but in fact I was 2 steps ahead of them, like an anime villain. They were wrong. They're in the lose-lose situation. Huzzah! It's a court document twitlonger. Pretty much, this is what it sounds like.
Computers and phones for impounding so that they can have any of his content removed from
What?
them, and to also remove any of his
What?
content from any website. He then requests maximum damages
Holy
of
shit.
$150,000 for the 23 alleged cases of infringement, for a total of $3,450,000.
Oh my god! Holy shit, this guy's going for the moon! Whoo-wee! I don't think it's gonna make it very far for what it's worth. I'm no expert, I didn't pass the bar or anything, but... I mean, the way he wrote that lawsuit seems like any self-respecting court is never gonna actually take it seriously. When you think of the most important inventions in the world, you probably think of the standard stuff like the wheel, trains, electricity, airplanes, antibiotics, peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But one thing that a lot of people don't realize is we recently just lived through one of the most important inventions in all of human history. I'd argue, in fact, the most important, and that is the creation of Roblox. It is one of the most popular and most profitable things on the planet right now. If you went outside with a shovel and you dug down and happened to have found an unlimited supply of gold, diamonds, and oil, you would still probably not be able to beat the profit that Roblox is making. It is crazy what that's generating. Now, a month ago, I was talking about an ongoing story, a wild and wacky adventure, where Roblox is currently suing a YouTuber for $1.6 million, or 130 million Robux. I'll quickly bring you all up to speed. I'll sit you by the campfire and tell you this scary story. Basically, there's a controversial Roblox YouTuber who's covered a lot of like corruption in the Roblox community, as well as just like general like trolling on Roblox. His name is Grimspin, and in the lawsuit they allege some horrible things about this guy. Now, full disclosure, as I said in the initial video, I don't know shit about Grimspin or any of the stuff that's mentioned in the lawsuit, whether or not any of it's accurate. I was just going by what was listed there and talking about it. It's some terrible shit. And they're taking his greasy ass to court for $1.6 million at least. There's a lot of room there, a lot of wiggle room for even more money, such as covering attorney fees, as well as other miscellaneous things they could ask for if they decide to. But it's like a $1.6 million bare minimum that'd be coming right out of his fucking butthole. So they allege some absolutely horrifying stuff like terrorism. They accuse him of terrorism by saying he had gone on Twitter and threatened that the Roblox meeting was going to get shot up, or encouraged his viewers to go shoot up or threaten the Roblox meeting. They also said that he tried uploading sexually explicit games onto Roblox, which is a platform mainly used by kids, so just a lot of really fucked up things. They damn near accused him of, like, flooding their toilets in their headquarters. They made this guy sound like the actual Roblox boogeyman, who was at all times sabotaging Roblox from the inside. Like, he was omniscient, he was everywhere. Every problem Roblox ever had was tied to Grimspin. Like, it was a fucking laundry list of horrible accusations. And now, yesterday, Grimspin has come out from the shadows to defend himself. He's making a 3-part series breaking down the lawsuit and defending himself and proving why those accusations are bullshit, wrong, or just completely misleading. And part 1's the only one posted so far, but I actually thought he did a really good job of illustrating both a major problem with Roblox right now, as well as things that didn't make sense on the points that he talked about in the video from the lawsuit. So the first point he tackles is right here, where they accuse him of tweeting a photoshopped picture of a former Roblox employee who was openly gay, depicting him nude, and then repeatedly harassing him on Twitter. Now, according to Ruben, this is just an outright lie. So the employee in question is an employee for Roblox who is a social media head, like an actual e-celebrity of the Roblox staff, who openly ran a porn blog while being employed by Roblox in this position. So they just had a porn blog dedicated to furry porn, giant porn, Rule 34, and the naked pictures they're talking about in the lawsuit are nude photos he himself posted of himself on his blog, which Ruben then posted on Twitter in order to critique and ridicule him for having a Roblox position, a very open social position with Roblox, while also openly having a porn blog that anyone of any age could access.
Back in 2015, Roblox hired a social media manager while he was running a porn blog, which was completely public, and even nudes of himself taken outside in the middle of the desert in Death Valley, California. This social media manager wasn't just some anonymous Roblox employee. He was an e-celeb, making regular appearances on their company's livestream, The Next Level. I didn't Photoshop anything. I didn't have to. Yet they claim that I depicted him nude. I didn't depict him nude. He is nude. He even tagged it under nude and naked.
I don't know this employee in question, but from the censored photos here, it looks like fucking Tobey Maguire. I half expected this to be like fucking Peter Parker from the original Spider-Man movies. But I am in agreement with Ruben's point, where it's a very big and disturbing problem to have the social media head of a kids game also be the head of a porn blog. I think that's pretty gross and very weird. So now the next major point he focuses on is a massive problem that I also recently learned about. I even posted another video about this one, where in the Roblox developer community, there are legitimate child predators and people that groom children, as well as people that exploit children for free labor. It's a massive fucking issue with Roblox that Roblox refuses to do anything about. So, Rubinson mentions in his video that he is the first person to be sued by Roblox for off-platform behavior. Since the inception of Roblox, the primordial oof, they have made their stance clear. They don't give a fuck what happens off the Roblox platform. They won't do anything about it. They won't even ban people. They just wash their hands of it and say, oh, some kids got abused over there, or, oh, some kids are getting groomed, or kids are getting, sexually preyed upon. Is it on Discord, not Roblox? Discord? Oh, that's fine. Hey, we don't care. We're just going to close our eyes to it. Doesn't bother us. Doesn't hurt our bottom line. They have made it clear they don't do anything about off-platform behavior, yet for Rubin, they're throwing the book at him for a $1.6 million lawsuit. So why target what is essentially a Roblox troll? And that's not even the right word. I don't know Rubin's content, but it seems more like the pieces he makes are content based around problems in the Roblox community and less about trolling. But again, I don't really know his content. But even still, why target someone that's calling out problems as opposed to targeting the problems themselves, like the openly admitting pedophiles in the Roblox developer community?
Sued for off-platform behavior when I've made videos on this very channel criticizing Roblox for doing next to nothing when child predators groom their users over Discord. One of their own professional developers was featured in a People Make Games video, sexting a 12-year-old girl while he was 24.
The person you're about to hear speak is Sarah.
That video is a video that we've covered on the channel as well. It's an extremely disturbing story and just a horrible, horrible situation that Roblox refuses to do anything about because it happened off of the official Roblox platform. So that developers' games existed on the platform all the way up until Sega took them down because it infringed on their copyright. So Rubin even mentions this in his video. Sega was the one to finally step in and take down the pedophiles' games, which were giving him access to kids in the first place, before Roblox did anything. Roblox just let it ride because they were very popular games. They didn't bother to do anything about it. They don't care about protecting the kids because it was happening off their platform. So the developer never got in any trouble. They weren't punished. They were still making money all the way up until Sega was like, hey, that's our copyright. Man, fuck this guy, and then just slapped them across the face. So it's baffling that the battle they choose to fight is against a YouTuber who calls out this behavior as opposed to the people that are open about what they're doing. The person, and I'm not going to play too much of Rubin's video here, but he shows more clips from this person in particular where they openly say like, yeah, I'd probably go to jail for some of the things I've been doing on here and shit like that, openly stating that they don't care about the age and knowingly are breaking the law. And all of this information being reported to Roblox, nothing gets done. In that People Makes Games video, the pedophile that they focused on for that section literally just openly admits it. He made like a fucking YouTube video where he's like, yep, just confirming everything is true, and I'm not that sorry about it because it's not a big deal. And all of that gets reported to Roblox, and he's like, oh, hey, that's YouTube. Hey, do you see Roblox on that? That's YouTube, baby. We don't touch it. We don't care. It's not on our platform. Even though the dude has very popular games on your platform that he uses to get access to the kids. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I understand you can't have, like, your porn-addicted Roblox staff members in every single Discord group on the planet to monitor it to make sure there's no, like, child grooming going on. But when it gets reported to you, and it's very clear a lot of evidence has gone into this, and it is using your platform to have access to these victims, you should probably step in and at least investigate and perhaps do something. Even though all of it was happening off platform, your platform is being used to give those bad actors access to victims. Like, it blows my fucking mind how they can just be so complacent to be like, yep, hey, off platform, we don't care, baby, suck our nuts. So I think it was a very good point Rubin was making by saying that it's very weird that all of a sudden now Roblox cares about off-platform behavior when in the past they haven't cared at all and turned a blind eye to actual child abuse and legitimate, horrifying criminal activities going on their platform. But now they've gone after Rubin. This is only part 1 of 3 parts. I don't know if any of the other accusations are true. I guess we'll have to wait for parts 2 and 3 to see Ruben's side of it. But just from this first part, it highlights a very clear issue with Roblox. And I think he did a great job of breaking down at least one of the claims and improving his side and how it's misleading in the way it's presented with the whole nude photo of a staff member thing. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this because this story is really getting pretty crazy. This is like some actual wild and goofy shit going on here, and I'm super curious to see how it progresses. I think even if Ruben Sim is able to definitively, without question, prove every single piece of this lawsuit is bullshit, he is still going to lose so much money trying to fight it in court, and it's going to be a long and tedious process, and that's just gotta be the fucking worst. That's gotta suck so much ass. Even, like, knowing that you are innocent, but then because this company has so much money to just throw at lawsuits, they can just keep you busy and bleeding money in the meantime. It's fucking crazy. So we'll have to see the rest of this to see truly if the other claims are bullshit. But yeah, anyway, that's about it. See ya.